What does it profit someone to gain the whole world and then lose their very life? Jesus is giving an alternative plan. There's another way to do this. And Peter obviously doesn't get it. Peter thinks it's that straight road. God forbid that anything bad should happen to you, Lord. Not you. And he says, get behind me, Satan. You are not thinking the way God thinks. You haven't really fully had that Holy Spirit. You had a little revelation last week because you saw who I am. But this week you've lost it. So get behind me. Because I'm looking for something different, something new. A meta-nous, St. Paul calls it in Romans today. He says, don't conform yourself to the way things are done in this world. Buy low, sell high, straight road to riches, straight road to fame, straight road to purity, straight road to the best. It doesn't work that way. No, you are to have a meta-nous, a new mind. A transformation of your mind. Today we are right now in the midst of some transformations of moving from one place to another. I am moving from almost 45 years of priesthood and ministry into I don't know where. Here I go off to a monastery in California to live with some hermits in Big Sur, California. If Catholics know anything, they know real estate. And I'm told that Bishop Conlon got up in my former parish in Mary Queen to install a new pastor. He says, I understand Fr Taschetta, get the name right, Fr Taschetta wants to go be a monk. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't know where I'm going. I didn't know where I was going when I came here. Absolutely, utterly clueless. And we as a parish, we know that there are all kinds of changes going on right now in Kankakee, and especially among the parishes, and we don't know where we're going. And yet, there's a way to go. And I discovered that way to go in 1990 when I came to live among you, because you had already discovered it. There's already a genius here. You know, St. Teresa is a little bit off the beaten track. I don't know if you've noticed that either. We're on the east side of Kankakee. It wasn't Romy's idea. Romy Hammond, I'm told, actually bent I-57 to come to the east side of Kankakee. No, Merry Christ. And he built that four-lane divided highway so somebody can get here that nobody uses. It didn't happen. It didn't happen the way that we had it planned. The best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. It didn't happen that way. And by the time I got here, well, the neighborhood was already different. And I was told that it wasn't what it was when I was in Hopkins Park and would come here and do confirmation retreats. It was beginning to decline, I think was the word that they used. And I can remember driving through the first day after Bishop Cafford had assigned me here, and the reason I got assigned here was because of the genius of St. Teresa. And I don't use that word flippantly, I use it advisedly. It's not your genius, it's God's genius. It's the meta-nous, it's the new way of doing things. It's the way He asks us to do things. I got here specifically because I had gone the year before to learn Spanish at the ripe old age of 46, and I had just got a brand new language, and there was some place I needed to use that brand new language. And it was because the people of St. Teresa, and it was Dick Fry, who was the president of the parish council at the time, said, when the Hispanic community comes here, we want them. We want them. But they're not like other people. They don't speak the same language that we do. They're not quite the kind of, we want them. And so I was assigned here because of your incredible, enlightened self-interest, because you knew as well as I knew, if the Mexicans come, they'll never close the place. Once they fill the place, they're here. No dummies, you. What's the genius? What's the St. Teresa genius? I think it's this. You take the words of Jesus seriously. The Son of Man is going to go and he's going to pick up a cross. And he's going to go where he doesn't want to go. And there is going to be difficulties, and in that cross there's going to be pain, and in that cross there's going to be suffering, and you're not going to have all the answers. But you're going to go in there with faith, and you're going to go in there with trust. And you're going to live through it. The Son of Man is going to rise from the dead on the third day. That's the God plan. That's the Paschal plan. The Paschal plan says this. You take the good, and then you're going to have the difficulty, the pain, the suffering, the hurt of life. Don't run away from it. Don't eschew it. Don't throw it away. As a matter of fact, if you want to be my disciple, you follow me that way. Why? Because it leads to life. The world doesn't understand that message. The world wants a non-stop trip to nirvana. There are none. And I think in the depths of our soul, in the soul of this parish, you understood that. And so you invited the least of the brothers and sisters into our household. Bring them on. Bring them here. There's room at our table. You invited me into that household. But all I can remember is that I wasn't ready. I remember driving through the neighborhood the first day, and Sister Josephine Chacho came up and she said, "Father, we're having a Spanish Mass tomorrow." I said, "No! No hablo español!" That's not good. It's yes! We're never ready. We're never ready for what God brings into our lives. But he says, plunge into it. Plunge into it. As you walk forward, the carpet unrolls. I heard that beautiful metaphor right before Mass comes today. But until then, you don't know where you're going. As you take every step, there's a light for your step, but there's not two lights. And so whatever unfolds, you do. And that's been your genius. Whatever comes here, you welcome. You bring it in. And it's not always easy. The Hispanic community came here. The very first thing we did was set up what's called a women's co-op. It was Sister Judy Callahan's genius. Just let's bring these women who are not only marginalized, but locked inside their houses because their husbands are out working in the fields, or working on bussing tables, or cooking food, and they never get out of their house. They'll never learn the language. They'll never be able to be part of the community. They will feel like outsiders all their lives. So what did you do? The beautiful blue-haired ladies in their big cars picked them up. Brought them over to the soup center. They babysat their kids. You taught them English, and the world changed. Not just for them. For you. That's what it means to follow in my footsteps. Jesus tells us, follow him. And that means when it is easy. That means when it is impossible. This is the community that marched with the Hispanic community for immigration rights, both down in Springfield and both in Chicago. This is the community. This is the community. I don't know if you remember this story or not. But when pain and suffering and trials came, you never ran away from it. You embraced it. And every one of us, there's not a family in this congregation's life was not endured some kind of cross, or pain, or trial, or suffering. And I remember one day reading in the Kankakee Daily Journal that a young man was found hanging from a tree. Nobody knew who he was. He was an immigrant somewhere from Central or South America. That's all that they knew. He didn't have a name. He didn't have a place. He was the ultimate outsider. What did the genius of this community do? Bring him in. We'll bury him. We named him. We called him Michelangelo. Michael the Aged. I don't know if you remember or not, but we had a Fitzpatrick Funeral Home, gave us their services. We had a first-class funeral right here at St. Teresa for someone that nobody knew. What's that? That's the path. That's the path that you're all called to walk on. We don't know what life is he's going to bring us. But he promises us, if we embrace it, if we don't run away from it, if we're not afraid of it, he's with us. He's with us. So when I came to this parish, I could not believe what I was beginning to see as it was unfolding before my eyes, because it's the community of faith. And I told Father Sonny when he called me up right before he was assigned, he says, "What's it like? How will I do?" I said, "Go! Go! These people actually like priests. They're good to priests. Nice change of pace." And oh, do you? Oh, do you? Now, I'm the priest I am today. He is becoming the priest he's going to be for the rest of his ministry because of you. Because of you. Because of the people that we are called to shepherd. And as we shepherd, we are shepherded by you. You show us the way. Do we lead you? Yes. We put into words the things that maybe you don't have words for. Whoopie-doo. That's what we do. We make the body and blood of Christ alive at the Eucharist? Absolutely. But you know what? It's already alive here. If it's not alive here, no matter what I do, it's not the same. But you do that. You do that. You have created the priests in this household. And you continue to do it beautifully. You have shepherded me through the greatest tragedy and sorrow of my life. That was the death of my granddaughter, Ange Michelle, in 1993. And she was hit by a truck with her maternal grandmother. The driver's seat, and both were killed. And at that point, I didn't know what I would do. That was a cross that we are not called to run away from, but to embrace and to go through. And you led me through that. You were also there at the greatest joys of my life. You allowed, I finally counted about over 15 young men lived in my household for the 12 years I was here. And one of them, I adopted. One of them became my son. I remember the first day that he arrived at my door, knocking on the door, he says, "May I wash your windows?" I said, "Good, kid needs some money. Knock yourself up. Wash your windows." After it was all over, I said, "Here, let me pay you." "Oh, no, Padrecito, it's a gift, it's a gift." Little did I know that those would be the most expensive windows I had ever had. I could have bought a freaking house! You did, for those windows. But you allowed them in. There's room at the table for all, and it's the table of life. And the table of life goes forward and backwards. Right before I started Mass today, I came here about an hour early, and I walked the labyrinth. If you haven't walked the labyrinth in a while, do it. Because it is paradigmatic of what it means to follow Christ. And that means you go forward, and you do go backward, and you do get it, and you do forget it. And the veil parts, and it makes perfect sense, and then the veil closes, and you're not even sure if there's God. You just keep walking. You just keep walking. You don't stop. Because that's that thing. See, it's not when everything is perfect that we get it. It's not until it begins to fall apart. The veil begins to part. Cross is not an option. Don't be afraid. With us or without us, it's coming. It's when we fight it, we deny it, and do the Peter thing that we don't get it. So we embrace it, that we have it. That's ours. Well, one of the last things that you did as a community was help me usher my mother to the other side of life. The other side of life was an incredible, wonderful gift. What have you done as a community? You take those on the outside and bring them in. But no one's taking care of the health care in the area and in the neighborhood. What happened? I've always said one person with faith makes a majority. Hopkins Park was over one nun, Sister Mary Adelaide, knocking on the door saying, "Are there any Catholics here?" They went, "Oh, does anybody want to be?" That's how they got a church. Elder Teresa, does anybody need some help over here? And we go, huh? Come on over, we got a little room back here. We'll take your blood pressure. And out of that has grown the Azarelli St. Teresa Helen Shigeru's Clinic. And food pantry. It goes on and on and on. I've had the honor to shepherd you for 12 years to do that. And I was telling Donna Worth right before, the greatest joy that I had from all of that was to watch you grow. Watch, especially the children. Especially the children. Michael was a little boy. He had more hair. And this was my very, very first wedding. They had to put the pews of the chairs themselves to get married in. And I got to watch you grow, and I got to be a catalyst for you. Cheerleader. Okay, well, whatever you want, need, desire, you got. The job of the priest is just to tell you you got it. That you're not alone. That you can do it. And now it's time for me to move on to my next stage of life. It's the life of the time of the forest work, where you go away and you say, okay, now Lord, I've done that. I've run a household. I've run this household. I've run about 5 or 6 households. Now what do I do now? So I've got to leave. I've got to go away from managing households and running parishes. But you're going to continue on. But I do have one question as I leave, and I heard this just the other day, and it really makes perfect sense to me. Father Victor Ivers, a priest of the Archdiocese in 2007, when he retired, he gave a little talk like I did right now, and then he started out the church, and then he stopped. He asked the organ to stop, he came back, and he took off his shoes. And he said, who's going to fill these shoes? Who's going to pick up the mantle? Now, nobody has been a greater advocate for the married clergy than I am. I really believe, and I want you to pray, and I think we need to work for that to happen. Period. We're not there right now. The shoes still need to be filled. So I'll leave these shoes with you. They're Calvin Klein's, but I bought them at the resale shops.